We're the best kept secret in West Australia.
It's surprising how interested some of the young people are in the place.
On a hill overlooking Freo, a military campaign has been waged. It's not a war, but a battle to bring the pages of history to life. And it's gone on largely unnoticed by the people of Perth.
People don't even know where we are sometimes. They say, I wear this all the time, and they say, oh, Army Museum, where's that?
Graham McEwen chairs the Army Museum Board. He's seen the museum undergo a massive refurbishment and upgrade in time for the centenary of the start of World War I this year. He won't say it, but it's now regarded as the best outside the Australian War Memorial Museum in Canberra.
And it is world-class standard, for sure.
This museum houses 3 Victoria Crosses awarded to Western Australians, which is probably the largest collection of Victoria Crosses outside of the Australian War Memorial.
Major Henry Fidgelek is the museum manager. He says the galleries and displays tell the story of West Australians at war.
It's quite important for West Australians that we do have a military museum here that tells the story of those West Australians.
It's not just the story of the West Australians who went to war. Today, it's easy to forget that the war once came to Western Australia. These are bomb shelters in Murray Street during World War II. It's a reminder of how close the conflict came. These rare colour images captured at Perth Oval on the 14th of November 1938 show the people of the city turning out to watch the Royal Army Review. They had no way of knowing, just under a year later, they'd be at war. There's other reminders at the museum too. Living treasures like 94-year-old Cyril Allender and his young mate Jack Connolly, who's 90. They're both veterans who now volunteer as museum guides. Retirement's a dirty word.
They said, what are you talking about? He said, only 94, you've got another 6 years to go.
Cyril served in New Guinea, a young man fighting the enemy and the jungle near the infamous Shaggy Ridge. This is him with his battalion before they set off. Cyril, what was it like on Shaggy Ridge? Tell me.
Can I say, bloody terrible?
Yeah?
Yes, it was. But I had my birthday over here, about somewhere over in this part there, which was about 3,000.
In the jungle here. How old were you?
And the birthday, I counted a Bennigan up there on my 23rd birthday.
23, and you were sitting up there. Cyril and Jack didn't fight together, but faced the same rugged and terrifying combat in the New Guinea jungle. What was it like for a 19-year-old in this situation?
I don't know, pretty scary at times. Yeah. At night was worse, you know. Yeah.
Did you put on brave faces?
Oh yeah.
But inside you were pretty scared?
Yeah. Well, anyone said I wasn't scared, they were bloody liars. The stories of countless others like Cyril and Jack echo through the galleries of the Army Museum. Displays take visitors into the world of combat. It's a warts and all glimpse of the reality of war.
The one that I think is the attention grabber is the Prisoner of War Gallery, the Burma Thai Railway. That's very emotive.
So too are these large medals or plaques. They became known as dead man's pennies, as they were sent to the families of people killed in service. The museum is extraordinary in its scope. Visitors can walk through the trenches of France, see Australians at war in Vietnam, and come face to face with a replica of the Kokoda track. It houses an enormous collection of weapons, both from Australian services and those taken as souvenirs of war, like this German machine gun. Outside in the barrack yards, tanks and machinery have been restored. It's a time machine that takes us to a place few ever would have wanted to be, but none can afford to ignore.
They do come back and haunt you sometimes.
We've got to learn from our history to try and change history if we can, but more importantly to recognise the women and the men that went through, not only that served overseas but served back in Australia.